I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can we have a moment of silence, please? Roll call, Fred?
Counselor Chamberlain?
Here.
Counselor Heising?
Here.
Counselor Schneider?
Here.
Counselor Stickley?
Here.
Counselor Tiarena?
Here.
Council President Steers.
Here.
We have 6 members present. We have a quorum.
Say no.
No. All right, council has had time to approve the past minutes. Get a motion on those?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I will second. Motion to approve the prior meeting minutes moved by Counselor Stickley and seconded by Counselor Heising. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
And next, after that, we have a couple of committee reports. We're going to start with the Finance Committee.
Finance Committee met on November 20th. There were several heads of departments there, and we went through I think about 57 pages of items. There's quite a bit here to read. I'm going to sort of summarize. There had to be some minor changes due to things had to be moved according to Jamie to new parts of the budget and so forth. They finally got some of the police cars in, I think, and Durangos, and what was it? I know we got some fire stuff in that was ordered a couple of years ago.
Yes, the ambulance.
Ambulance and that was discussed. The biggest thing, I think, one of the things we talked about different grants that may have to be recommended, get some help with the water line on Burr Road and maybe Fulton Street and so forth. But most of the items were not very, I don't know the right word I want to say. There was not a lot of argument about them. Everybody sort of understood them and know what needed to be done and so forth. One thing that we did discuss towards the end of the meeting was possibly finding a way to allocate money to Biddle Park to make some girls softball fields out there. Although those are rather expensive, a couple $100,000 a year, or a field. We felt that the girls softball has been shorted for several years, and we need to do something to sort of remedy that. But other than that, we went over everything in detail. Councilor Heising made a motion to approve the budget as amended. I seconded it, and everybody was in favor. So if anybody's got any questions, I know that's very quick. There's a lot here, but when you have 57 pages and 15 to 20 items on a page, it's pretty difficult to go through every one individually here. I think everybody was in favor of what we had to do it.
Steve, I just want to distribute something to each council member real quick in reference to the Finance Committee meeting minutes. There's a, do I have enough? One more?
That's good.
That's good. Yeah, pass one down to the mayor then too. Just so, the meeting, the meeting minutes on page 2, there's a paragraph that starts Councilor Chamberlain ended the meeting. I felt that paragraph didn't accurately summarize my comments, so what I did was I drafted a paragraph. It's in red font in my handout, that I would like the red font paragraph to take the place of the paragraph that's currently cited within the meeting minutes. I'll give you all a chance to read it.
Well, I read this when you sent it to Corinne a half hour ago, and I feel that this paragraph pretty much sums up this paragraph, except you quoted, the quotes was issued by me, and the mayor mentioned the fields at the north end were meant for softball and are still owned by the Wauseon Rotary. I meant the two that you were discussing, the ones that are baseball fields. That's what I meant. Those were meant when they were created, those should have been softball fields, and they were made into baseball fields, is what I stated in the meeting. And then I said, yes, the ones at, that are owned by the Rotary, that we would have to discuss that with Rotary to, see what their ideas were and stuff if they wanted to move forward with it. I'm not disagreeing with changing those fields to softball fields like what was presented, I think, at the first finance meeting, and then it was brought back up at your other one. I just want that. That's not how I meant that. I meant that those were, from the beginning, were meant to be softball fields. And I agree with Shane that they should have some softball fields out there. And then now, as far as the north fields, whether those that are owned by Rotary, if those were supposed to be softball fields as well, I would have to look back and see what the Rotarians asked about that. But I agree that those, we talked about taking down the mounds, making those into softball fields, taking out the turf in one of them, and starting that, and then also maybe reappropriating, and that's not in this one. He said that 200 be budgeted each year, and that's the same thing here, right?
No.
For new fields, 200 each year for the new fields for, that the Rotary owns, that we budget that.
Yeah, the existing minutes, as they're presented prior to tonight, said he suggested that $200,000 be budgeted each year for the next 2 years to convert the north fields to baseball, softball fields by removing the grass infield and pitching mounds.
I get what you're saying. That was for the other ones, okay.
I again think we need to do something more, because a few years ago we had that economic analysis of if we really use Biddle Park the way it should be used, what impact it would have on the city. I mean, my grandson and my granddaughter played sports. We traveled all over playing. Shane's done it too. Scott's done it. When you go, you're gone for the weekend. You're, where are we going to eat? We don't want to eat at the concession stand all the time. Pizza Hut will get busy. Dairy Queen get busy.
Especially with the new hotel.
Right. There's going to be a lot of people that could really spend money in Wauseon if we.
And I remember that
country.
being brought up,
Yeah.
and we listened to it, and so Larry Lamon was on Rotary at the time, and he came in on those meetings as well and listened. And the analysis that Shane is correct, that said it would bring, more to, but as far as him stating that it was gonna create a huge softball increase for softball or baseball, he was like this. I mean, it wasn't, and I think that's why the Rotary said, we're gonna wait. And I don't know, if I would listen to it, you would listen to it, and Harold would listen to it. It could have been 3 different ways of taking the analysis. I still feel that, again, like Shane said, we should probably budget that money for earmark, but we can't do anything with new fields until Rotary says they're ready to help develop it. And that's gonna be where, I'm not going to Rotary and saying we want you to give us money. If we earmark money for it, then we can start the process if they're ready to start the process, because they're gonna have to put money into getting it ready.
Is that for new fields, the north fields that are
Yeah,
not
new fields.
being not created yet? Is that what you're talking?
So, all I want to do right now, folks, is just focus on the meeting minutes. Okay, this is great discussion, but what I'm trying to amend is the meeting minutes. It mentions that that I wanted to set aside $200,000 to be budgeted each year for the next years to convert the north fields to baseball, softball fields. So that's not what I meant, the $200,000.
You don't want to do anything with the existing?
The $200,000 figure that I suggested was meant to build one brand-new softball field
On the north?
at where the fields are not made yet.
Okay.
And the other two fields would have the grass removed to make them,
Sort of like a Plan B, Steve.
Right,
My
right.
thought was if we couldn't afford a brand-new field, that we look at the baseball fields that are existing out there
Mhm.
and amend those or adjust those to be able to play both baseball and softball on those.
yeah.
So I'm just trying to set the record a little more accurate within within the finance committee meeting minutes to reflect actually what was said. I just take issue with how that is written.
Oh, and I agree if you feel
Yeah.
that's different, but I want what you wrote in there cut out, because that's not what I meant.
And
These
Mayor,
quotes,
you're mentioning, the only part of my draft that I mentioned it says, the mayor mentioned the fields at the north end meant for softball are still owned by the Wauseon
And
Rotary.
that's not-
I'm not done. And these changes should be made once the land is transferred to the city. So there's 4 fields out there that are still owned by the Wauseon Rotary. Those are not developed yet.
I get that.
Yeah,
And
so-
I understand that. What I was mentioning was the 4 existing were meant for softball when they were created, and they were not made into softball. They were made into baseball years ago. That's what I said. And this is not correct, because you're saying that the new ones were met, and that's not what I said.
So what the
I would
existing.
like that
Yeah.
stricken from
Yeah,
minutes.
what the meeting minutes say, that you're okay with possibly, it was mentioned that the fields are technically still owned by Rotary, and these changes should be made
I
once the
did
land.
say that.
Once the land is transferred to the city. So in that, what fields are technically still owned by Rotary?
The ones that are on the northeast side of the north fields
Right.
are still owned by Rotary. The ones I was referring to were the existing fields being played on now. And I also agree with the softball, and I know there was also council discussion of taking down a mound and some grass to get it at least a field up for softball immediately, so that and Keith was looking into some quotes for that. This is all great, but I don't want to be changing minutes on something that I don't agree with this version, and I just say this is up for more discussion and work, that I don't approve of that, because that is misquoted at the bottom.
There's no quotes. It's a summary of discussion. Those are what meeting minutes are. The mayor mentioned the fields at the north end meant for softball are still owned by the Wauseon Rotary, and these changes should be made once the land is transferred to the city.
You're putting words in my mouth, Shane.
That's not, okay.
The-
Council members, from my proposed to change those meeting minutes, if I were to remove the last sentence, I would make a motion to amend the finance committee meeting minutes to reflect that change. So if you just remove the sentence where I referenced the mayor, I'd like to make a motion, or I am making a motion to amend the minutes to reflect what I proposed.
I'll second.
Motion to amend the Finance Committee meeting minutes, moved by Counselor Chamberlain and seconded by Counselor Schneider. Any discussion?
Yeah, one more thing. When meeting minutes are made in a meeting and they're written out, and you have one person wanting to change them, I would suggest you get the minutes before 2 minutes are into the meeting, so that they can compare the minutes, especially the ones who were there and the ones who weren't there, to at least make a decision on what you are trying to propose. Because in my mind, these are Shane Chamberlain minutes of how he felt this went, and this is a small paragraph of discussion. So that's all I'm going to say, is minutes are minutes in a meeting, and as written, unless
So
they're wrong, they shouldn't be amended.
So we have,
amended.
at no point do we have any oversight over the written minutes.
I don't understand why they need to be amended. But,
Do
okay,
we
that's
have-
it, vote. Let's go for the vote.
Counselor Chamberlain?
For sure.
Counselor Schneider?
Yes.
Counselor Tiarena?
Yes.
Counselor Stickley?
Yeah.
Counselor Heising?
Yes.
Council President Steers?
Yes.
6 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Okay, next, let's see, Finance Committee, 20 Personnel Committee,
We
November
have
21.
need a recommendation to.
I have a question about the minutes too, really quick. Pete, so when he talks about the grant writing, are you guys looking to bring in support for grant writing?
No.
Or
Well,
what were you talking about there?
I think they were looking, as they usually do, for any type of grants they can get to help with the water line on Burr Road, the
Oh,
Fulton
that's-
Street.
Oh, okay, so you're not trying to bring in a third party?
No,
Oh, okay.
just
Okay.
trying to find as many ways we can to help
Yeah,
finance.
okay, that makes more sense.
And I'll explain it more when I'm on my
Okay.
department report.
Okay, so I
Sorry.
misunderstood. No, you're fine. Misunderstood. I just wanted to be clear.
We still have to approve the budget.
Yeah,
Mayor.
actually, we were voting on the budget. That
Oh, is
was
that
what
what we're
was
gonna vote
brought
on?
forward.
Oh.
And the discussion went into the minutes.
Okay.
And so actually, we're going into the Finance Committee budget report. And you gave that, and that's what needed to be voted on. And we were still talking minutes, so we do need to go back and vote for the 2024 budget.
That's what I thought.
You're good.
So I would make a
You're right.
motion to accept the Finance Committee's recommendation for the 2024 budget.
Second.
You did change that before.
Recommendation to approve the 2024 budget moved by Counselor Stickley
Oh.
and seconded by Counselor Chamberlain. Any discussion?
For sure. So will we have a chance to review and adopt the amended budget?
So that was included in your council packet, right?
I did
Yeah.
not include that in the council packet.
The amended budget was
No.
not approved?
They have it.
We have it now.
Yeah, they have it.
When did you get it?
I sent it
Friday?
like Friday morning.
Friday.
Okay, so they've had it more than 24 hours.
No, we have not had it.
Oh, you didn't get it?
No,
The council
I
members have
just-
not seen it until Sarah and I have seen it just now.
When did you send it?
I forgot to email it to them.
Okay.
So I printed it off tonight for them.
Do we want to wait until the next meeting and do this so that they can have a chance to look at the amended?
Yeah.
All right.
And since that finance committee meeting, we've had discussion that there is something that has been left out of it, and that is to provide for sidewalks.
Oh, yeah.
We wanted to add, I don't know, it's typically $25,000 for new sidewalks and $25,000 for tree damage sidewalks. So that was something that we wanted to get added. I'm not sure if you wanted the same amount.
Yeah, at the minimum, the same amount. Yeah.
Which hasn't been changed since the beginning.
No, yes.
And that was back in the early 2000s.
So I would suggest that if council is okay with this, then voting to approve the budget in its current form, and then you can vote to approve an amendment to the budget at the next meeting, at which we'd also have the legislation to approve the appropriation ordinance, which would be essentially the budget in legislative form.
Tom, I can't remember if the budget, once we approve the committee's recommendation for the budget, does that end up in a resolution or any form of legislation?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So typically, it's an ordinance, the
Okay, so-
appropriation ordinance. So you would have two things to deal with the budget then next time. Approve the amended version, and then assuming that that's approved, then there would be an ordinance encapsulating, memorializing the budget. And that's the annual appropriation ordinance.
I guess I'm confused. Why would we approve the budget tonight if we're going to approve the amended budget next time?
Well, because I guess you can deny the recommendation
Because we're going to be
tonight
at
and
the
then
end
vote
of the
again
year.
next week on the amended version.
It just breaks it down. So if you want to put the 200,000 in, you want to budget on the
Sidewalk.
the sidewalks, those are the three issues that are going to be amended. So if you take it today and then we bring in those amendments that just okayed through your finance, and then,
I guess I thought the issue also was that people didn't have a chance to read this.
That's why.
You know what I mean?
But you're gonna be able to, you've read the budget. This will be the amended stuff coming through. That will, you guys can discuss at your committee of the whole, and then, you know, it'll be in the budget then, for you to review it then. The whole purpose was to try to get the budget on the first reading, so it didn't have to go under an emergency for amendments, and now we're gonna have to do the amendments anyways, so.
Well, you can do it either way, I think. If you want
Yeah.
to just either table the recommendation or deny the recommendation with the understanding that you'd be looking at the amended budget next time, or you could approve it as it is now and then consider the amended budget at the next council meeting.
It's not up for first reading tonight, right?
No, it is
No.
not.
Okay,
No.
so we're good. Council members, I think if we accept the finance committee's recommendation, that's all we're doing. We're accepting that draft.
Approve the
And then we're gonna see another draft.
Yeah,
So I think we're okay.
And I
because we
will
still gotta
get
put,
that one to you
we still
guys.
gotta put wages in there and stuff.
Okay, I will recommend to approve the 2024 budget.
Most,
I
that's already, yeah, we're in
it's-
Oh, we're
discussion
just
right now.
voting now.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't remember, I'm sorry.
Unless there ain't no more.
Been a long day.
Counselor Stickley?
Yes.
Counselor Chamberlain?
Yes.
Counselor Heising?
Yes.
Counselor Tiarena?
Yes.
Counselor Schneider?
Yes.
Council President Steers?
Yes.
6 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
I will say this, council members, the original amount and the drafted amount is less.
Yes, it is.
So we got that going.
Nice.
Okay, we are off of that, and we can move now, personnel, for the recommendation that all non-seasonal part-time employees receive holiday pay. Who has that one?
Yeah,
Shane does.
I'll offer those minutes, Mayor, thank you. On November 21, we met, Personnel Committee, myself, Sarah, and Harold, we were all there. We had a big crowd, we had a lot to talk about. The first item on the agenda was the hiring of an human resource consultant. Jamie Jagir introduced Michelle Wing to everyone. Michelle Wing was representing her business, HR Premier Consulting. She described that she had been doing HR consulting for about a year within her own business, and she has about 10 to 12 years of HR experience. Michelle described having a master's degree in management organizational development, and she provided some information as to her certifications as well. She is based out of the southeast, I think, Michigan corridor, Ottawa Lake. So there was some discussion within the committee as to how often we would actually see her here physically, so employees could have face-to-face moments with her. She was anticipating or looking to spend about, how many hours?
20 hours
20 hours a month, 20 hours a month, with a proposed hourly wage of $200 an hour. Counselor Chamberlain, myself, I said there was a need for HR within the city, obviously, and I think that was unanimous across the committee. And Mayor said that Michelle Wing would be willing to adjust her schedule to be available for all shifts, because we were concerned about second and third shift having the opportunity to have face-to-face time with her.
Is there any references that she gave that she's worked with before as a consultant, since that's pretty new?
Yeah, the committee was not shared that information, if there is.
Have you talked to any other companies that she's done consulting with?
No, I haven't.
Did she provide any?
She explained to her what she has to offer to the committee, what she can do. She talked about what she's familiar with and who she worked with, and what she did there. It was more verbal than us going into, because we haven't done a contract or anything to do the background on her to see. Yeah, we're just still in the looking. She just offered her what she can do for the city.
Okay. So are we voting tonight to
And
bring her on? Or are we voting tonight?
I will add, no, just the position that she was, that $200 an hour that she brought forward. I told her that council wasn't thrilled with that when she called and we talked. And I
Okay.
said she is willing to bring that down, so, for this area.
Okay.
during that meeting on that same topic, Sarah made a good point that if we do bring an HR person on staff, either as a city employee or as a contract, that HR person needs to operate under the mayor, whereas in the past, our HR rep within the city seemed to answer under the finance director, and that would make for an uncomfortable conversation to have if you worked within the finance office and you had a concern about your direct supervisor. It provided for some conflict. So Sarah suggested if we do bring somebody on board to have them within the framework of the city underneath the mayor's position.
And this also, council, is a contract. It's not we're gonna hire. This is more of a contract for 1 year. And the ones that were hired prior to also did payroll. That's why they were under the city. That was their job description. So this would be a contract with contract terms. And I'm fine with it being under the mayor because that's where the contracts always end up anyways.
Yeah, I like that.
So.
Tom McWaters mentioned before actually contracting services with anybody, whether it be Michelle or somebody else, that the council would see a draft of the contract and would have an opportunity to say yes or no to the idea. So there's still some oversight that we would have. The recommendation for us tonight is for the city to hire a consultant to assist with human resource matters. That's the recommendation tonight. That's what the committee's bringing forward, is just the idea of the city finding HR help, not specifically identifying who that might be.
Right.
Okay.
The next topic was hiring a new position for Biddle Park maintenance, right, Keith? That was the next thing up. Keith provided sort of a list of job activities that this person would be responsible for. It would be a person that would take care of Biddle Park first, and then help out in other places if things were taken care of at Biddle, right, Keith?
Yes.
Okay. This new position would be a full-time position. It would operate under the Director of Public Works. Is that the right title?
Public Works Superintendent.
There we go, the Public Works Superintendent. I almost elevated him in a pay scale or something, right? Right now, that person is John Arps.
Yes.
Okay. So I thought this was a great idea to have some additional help out of Biddle Park. I think we're all in agreement that it needs a little more TLC than what it's getting right now, and this might be the answer to that. So the committee is recommending that the city pursue creating a job description and then seeking somebody to fill that position.
So I do know that when we were talking about it before, that we talked about they have to have like certain qualifications to spray or whatever, but they can also operate under the licenses that we currently have.
Yes.
Okay, and then for them to get that qualification, would the city pay for the classes for
Yes,
that?
it would be the same as a water plant or a wastewater
Okay.
plant operator or a water distribution license. We would pay for them.
And we have to
Training
write a
classes.
job description up for this because this is a new position. So
Right.
a new job description full-time will have to be created. And we're looking to that.
Okay.
So the recommendation out of that committee is before council tonight to create a new position to manage Biddle Park. Third topic.
We did the tax commission.
Third topic was part-time employees that work on holidays get paid holiday pay.
So,
Department heads, is that right? Yeah, okay. So the committee heard from department heads about the way it is right now. Part-time employees, if they work on a holiday, correct me if I'm wrong, if they work on a holiday, they're receiving base pay, straight time. And the idea is for them, if they work a holiday, to receive holiday pay.
Well, not all holidays. Right now, there are 6 holidays that employees of police and fire get part-time pay. What I brought was asking to match all 10 city-recognized holidays, and then, speaking with Chief Kessler and the other department heads, was to bring all part-time employees under that same umbrella.
So we're talking part-time employees, if they work, they'd be paid on 10 holiday days.
Right,
If they work on one of those 10.
Yes, they work.
Holiday pay.
Yes.
I think the point that the committee wanted to make sure that we were clear on is that if a part-time employee is at home, they're not receiving part-time pay similar to or how full-time would be handled, right?
Only if they work.
So we're drawing a distinction.
Yep.
Okay, All right, good deal. So tonight, the recommendation from the committee for council to consider is to have non-seasonal part-time employees receive holiday pay when working on a holiday recognized by the city. That's 3 of 4. And then the fourth topic handled by the committee was a tax commissioner position change from part-time to full-time, right, Jamie? Yes. Jamie, I guess during our committee, Jamie Jagera described the need to increase that part-time employee to full-time just based upon workload. Our current tax commissioner is interested in that, right, Jamie? Still? Okay. So it wouldn't necessarily require us to go out and find a new person. It would just be increasing the hours of an existing employee.
And it is income producing time.
Yeah, true.
For the city.
So that is a recommendation tonight, would be to amend the city's tax commissioner position from part-time to full-time. So that is the 4 topics.
Big
Can
meeting.
we do all 4 of them?
If you want to, if you,
I think we had like doing them one at a time. My opinion.
All right,
Yeah, I would
then
too.
let's start. from the
First
top.
one is
Holiday staff.
our part-time, our employees.
I will move on that.
I'll second that.
Recommendation that all non-seasonal part-time employees receive holiday pay, time and a half when working a holiday recognized by the city, moved by Counselor Heising and seconded by Counselor Tiarena. Any discussion? Counselor Heising?
Yes.
Counselor Tiarena?
Yes.
Counselor Stickley?
Yes.
Counselor Chamberlain?
Yes.
Counselor Schneider?
Yes.
Council President Steeritz?
Yes.
6 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Well, the second one on the paper is for human resources, in my paper.
Yeah, the recommendation for the city to hire a consultant to assist with human resources, yes.
Make that motion.
I'll second it.
Recommendation that the city hire a consultant to assist with human resource matters, moved by Counselor Chamberlain and seconded by Counselor Stickley. Any discussion?
I got a discussion. The only thing I would say is the city needs to put it out and get bids in from more than one person, and then bring it back to council so we
Does
can
this
vote on
require
it
a
and
bid?
discuss it.
Is this enough to require a bid?
I
I can't
don't-
remember what the cost.
I don't care so much if we don't get a bid, but I would like more than one person to be looked into.
And
That's
the
more where I am.
credentials.
Yeah,
Yeah,
credentials is huge.
That's what I'd like to see.
Well,
Yeah, me
and
too.
honestly, when we called the Northwest Ohio consultant firm to get the best person that would fit what we're asking for, they gave us certain names, and then we picked the one that we felt was the best fit to come in and even discuss what she would have to offer and what we're asking for. And she said, you know, she would come in for a year and come back to council and say, this is what Wauseon needs. She was the most qualified for public HR. We did look at other people, but it was the Northwest Ohio, what was it? Human
Sure.
resource,
Where's it?
like a consortium type thing,
Michigan.
and they give you names.
Now, where is Northwest Ohio Human Resource Development Association?
It
Where they
wasn't
at?
Northwest Ohio.
It was North-
Michigan.
Northwest Ohio, Southeast Michigan, wasn't it? I mean, it was the area,
Is this
in this
Bowling Green,
area.
Toledo? Where's this place out of, that you got the information?
I just found it online.
Ah, so did you find Connie online since she lives in Wauseon?
I did not, no.
Well,
You
that's why I
didn't find
think
her
we ought to
online,
put it out for
but
bids.
she was mentioned.
She was mentioned.
She was
That's why I
mentioned,
think we ought to Put it
Harold.
out for bids.
Harold,
So,
she
yes.
was mentioned.
Well, and she's
Okay.
got credentials and she's got a college.
So you're
degree.
pushing for somebody else.
I'm thinking that we need more than one person.
Well,
so the council
I'm
can
I'm
make
just
it
trying to say
more
that we
logical.
did get other people that we looked at,
But
and
you only brought one to us.
that's what you do when you do a bid. You bring the best person forward.
No, because when Keith gets a bid, he brings in more than one bid. And when the
Not you.
chief brings in bids they bring in more than one.
But they make the decision.
No, they don't. They bring it to council and council votes on things.
They bring in the best bid to council.
I disagree with that one. Because
My-
I've seen more than one bid.
All right, we'll get more than one. We'll get more
Well,
than
my
one.
concern is you're talking maximum, she said 20 hours a month, $200 an hour. What if she comes in and says, I'm really busy, I need to go, 300, or
30
or
hours.
30 hours a month, or 40 hours a month, do we have a cap on it?
Yes.
And 200 to me is too high.
They were
That's-
saying that there will be a cap. We're
So
only
we're
gonna
just now
budget so
voting
much
on getting the
It'd be just like a
position.
bid.
The
That's how I
details are
took it,
not,
Shane explained it.
Yeah.
It was just a position,
just a
right?
position, the details
Yes.
have not been determined yet.
Yep. We're gonna see a contract, we're gonna see a name, we're gonna.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay
Just
with
like
that.
any
I think
other
this is-
contract.
We're not hiring one.
To me, it would be like the zoning guy that we hired. We brought his name forward, and he was the one that we hired, and because he could do the job. And that was how we presented it to council.
But we also knew that you checked into, you had multiple people.
No, we had a couple people that were considered for that position because we needed somebody that could do the job. And Jamie called a consortium that said, this is where we're at, this is what we're calling for, I need people in this area. And they gave her name, and they gave a couple others, and this one. And then we broke it down on which one fit the city of Wauseon we felt the best. Then we talked with them and said, could you do this? And then we brought her in so she could explain it to the committee. This is what she could offer, that we felt that she was the best.
So when we did Danny and brought him in, did you interview other people?
Yes, but he is not a contract.
Right,
Danny
but I
is a
think
hire.
what I would like to see is us talk to more people than just to see them on paper. So you gave her an opportunity to sell you on her consultant position, and we haven't given anybody else the opportunity to sell their offerings. That's my frustration, is we've only talked to one person and said, oh, that's it.
But that's not what we did. We
That's
just
how I-
brought her forward to
that's-
explain the position of what we're looking to do and what she could offer.
But are you planning on
because
calling other people?
I guess we can look at a different area to look, I don't know. It's fine, I mean, then it's a hire. If we're
It's not really a hire, it's
I'd
talking
feel
to different
better if
consultants.
I just knew all the department heads were involved in that decision also.
No, that's not gonna happen. It's not their place to do that. You
Why-
know, when it comes to a
Why is it more
bid.
Jamie's issue than it is any of
Because
your
that
other
person
department
has
heads?
been underneath Jamie, HR, has been underneath her as a department head, so Jamie has the most experience within the city. And we did consult all of them, we talked about it, they gave us ideas of what they want to see in an HR. Okay, so we did do that, Sarah. I
But
don't-
Jamie chose the last person, and that person is now gone, correct? So why would it hurt to have other department heads involved when they're gonna be working with that person as well?
Again, department heads, were you questioned as what you would like to see in this as an HR?
We've been questioned since the beginning, whether it was Sarah and Leslie to now. And it was posted multiple times for those two, whether it was on Indeed or online platforms. And those offered very limited choices. Speaking from the fire department side, we put out questionnaires as to, hey, come be a fireman, these are the requirements. And it's nothing to get, my job history is I mow lawns, I don't have a job history, da-da-da-da. So I feel by Jamie getting to the third round here, while this is a little bit different, I support this because I know that the well is fairly dry. So,
For part-time?
yeah.
Yeah, for part-time. I just felt this route, I mean, she questioned me and asked me, what, can we go to this consortium and try to get some input of what they feel is the best fit? I said, yeah, seek them out. And they gave us people within the area. This one actually fit the best and knew more and was very familiar with Paylocity, and there's so many things that we really liked about her. So we wanted her to come to explain that this is what she's gonna do. We weren't saying we were hiring her, we never had a contract, we never told her you got the job. This is the one that we felt best fit, let's bring it to them and she can explain what she has to offer to the personnel committee. So that's where we're at. There's still nothing been said
Okay.
to her. She's not, you know, she, again, it's, to me, it's a bid. I've never seen a bid go, or contract go this route, where you guys have been told you need to get this, this, and this for a contract, but I guess, I don't know.
I guess I was under the impression when Shane brought up the thing that we were gonna hire an HR person, but not a specific one.
The recommendation is just to begin the process of creating creating a position.
Creating the contract.
We don't, creating a contract.
Yeah, and I second that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
agree,
Oh,
I
yeah, for sure.
agree.
Yeah, we're
We
just in
need an
discussion.
HR
Yeah.
person to help out the fire department, the police department, public works, and Jamie, and the city. I agree 100% on that. But we need, I think we need a list of things that we need, what Phil needs for fire department, what.
Can I clarify something here, Harold?
Go ahead.
I think there's been a loss of a understanding of the respective roles of the mayor and the administration and council regarding the hiring of city employees. And that typically the legislative role is very limited to the following: creating a job description, setting the pay scale. And beyond that, if it's not a department head, council has no involvement and has no ability to opine on the decision of the administration to hire employees. This situation is different in the sense that the only reason it's been brought to council is because council will have to approve the contract. So typically, council would have no involvement in the decision-making process or consideration of who the administration hires for a particular position. If the position was going to be filled with a full-time employee, council would not have any involvement in that. Again, the only difference here is that there's a contract that has to be approved, and so you have that oversight of the, long story short, you have the oversight of the purse. And so that's why the contract has been, that's why this was presented to council. It's a little bit out of the ordinary to be so involved in the decision-making process as to hiring this kind of person.
The HR person, unless I'm wrong, is gonna be a subcontractor, similar to you are a subcontractor.
That's correct, and that's right, and that's
So
why.
subcontractor has involvement with the council.
That, not really.
Employees, we don't have anything to do with employees until it comes to a personnel problem.
That's correct. The law director is the department head, so that's why the council has the ability has to approve the appointment.
Yeah.
But with respect to employees, normally, council's not involved in the hiring of those employees.
I agree.
I would suggest that this person is more like an employee as opposed to a department head. But
Well,
in
they're
any,
not a department head, they're gonna be a subcontractor.
I understand that, and the only reason that council has to be involved in the process is to approve the contract. I would suggest that getting involved in the weeds in terms of who's been reviewed, how many people have to be reviewed, would not normally be the prerogative or the bailiwick of council.
Right, I understand that. My thing is, like, it seems like we've gone to the cream of the crop, top dollar.
No, we
And
have. There were more. But go ahead.
Well, so perhaps, I mean, maybe where it can be left is that when a contract is presented to council, also it be discussed with council who was considered, what the process was. I kind of think that hasn't really been, properly presented to council in terms of what was done to vet and review for possible candidates. So.
I'm on board with that. I understand that, the whole contract issue. I just want to know that that wasn't the one person, because that's how it felt when she was presented to us, that's all.
When you take a bid out for a contract, any department head, they take it out and they're bidding on stuff. And I've seen those bids. And those bids come in that they're gonna bid on this, but some of them don't bid on that because they're not qualified to do it. Or some of them will do the whole bid and some of them can only do half the bid, and they consult out to another company to bid at, like the swimming pool. And you have to go through all of that. What is the lowest and best bid for the city? And honestly, Jamie and I did that, and she was the one that answered what we were looking for. And the reason I put Jamie in charge is because she is the one who's had to work with HR. And it was a sticker shock and the accusations of you didn't look at anybody else. Well, actually, names did come forward, but their job, every one of their job is, because they're the ones who deal with this, is to go define what is the best. And then I look it over with them and they say, we can't go with this one because this one isn't certified, this one that. And then we bring it forward. This was the lowest and best bid that helps, it's gonna be best for the city. And never had I had, well, you need to do this and you guys need to do that. It's like, this is a bid. We're trying to change it. We've never done it before. Maybe we shouldn't bid out of HR. Maybe we should keep it the same as the city made it and try to get a part-time person. But I don't think we're gonna get one that in public sector that has to deal with 2 unions, and this person was qualified to do all this.
But you said she'd be willing to go lower, why don't you find out
Yeah,
what she'd be
I
willing to
did.
go to?
I did. I asked, I said, council,
Yeah.
it was a sticker shock,
Yeah.
and she was willing to go lower. But I'm not gonna give a quote in a public meeting like
No.
this, because she
Now
never
that I
gave
can
me.
think a little bit better.
I don't
She
know
was
that
willing.
she is not the best person. I have no idea. Like that,
Well,
like very
that's
well.
what
it's-
Jamie and I felt
It's
that
just
she
that
was.
we have nothing to compare it to.
So I'm not gonna be here, but, so what we're
To
doing
know
is,
that it's good value.
with Shane, just a permission to hire
Yes.
We're gonna look at it,
someone,
we're gonna look at it.
but we still get to look at the contract.
Yep.
I mean, we,
Yes.
so,
I was waiting, Tom, for your legislative administrative lecture.
I know you appreciate it, Shane, I know you do.
I was gonna let you.
oh, I wake up in the middle of the night hearing your voice.
Oh, my God. Okay, we're gonna move on that. So did they vote? Did you vote?
No.
All right.
We're in discussion right
Go
now.
ahead. I'm done with my discussion.
Counselor Chamberlain?
Yes.
Counselor Stickley?
Yes.
Counselor Heising?
Yes.
Counselor Tiarena?
Yes.
Counselor Schneider?
Yes,
Council President Steeritz?
Yes.
6 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Okay, next is still in personnel recommendation that the city tax commissioner be hired on a full-time basis.
I will move on that.
a second.
Recommendation that the city's tax commissioner be hired on a full-time basis, moved by Counselor Heising and seconded by Counselor Schneider. Any discussion?
Can I say something just briefly about that, just to clarify? We're looking into whether the transition from a part-time to a full-time position will necessitate having to comply with the civil service rules. So if that is the case, then we would have to go through the normal process of competitive testing, but that would not reflect on the thought that she's, would be a really good person for that position. But just want to let council know that if we have to go that way, that's the reason for that, just to comply with the civil service rules.
We're taking care of our legislative end tonight?
Yes, you are.
Okay, thank you.
You may vote.
Counselor Heising?
Yes.
Counselor Schneider?
Yes,
Counselor Tiarena?
Yes.
Counselor Stickley?
Yes.
Counselor Chamberlain?
Yes.
Council President Steeritz?
Yes.
6 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
And last on the personnel committee is a recommendation that a new position be created to manage Biddle Park.
I'm excited about this. I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Recommendation that a new position be created to manage Biddle Park, moved by Counselor Chamberlain and seconded by Counselor Schneider. Any discussion?
I had one for this. The pay seemed, before all of the qualifications, seemed pretty low. Do you think it's going to be challenging to find somebody at that hourly?
Well, we haven't set an actual pay scale yet because we have to get the job description done, then run it through the point factor analysis based on how we got all the other pay scales.
Oh, okay.
I'm just,
It was just a ballpark number?
right, that's where I'm figuring it's going to land.
Oh, okay.
And then based on the experience, education, and other things, since we have a sliding fee scale, we can place them where they are based on
Okay.
on what they bring to the table. If we've got to send them training for everything, then they'll obviously be on the lower end.
Right, okay.
So they would work within that mid, and max?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
More likely in between min and medium. Okay.
You say
Bottom
max?
is middle.
Did you say max? Did you say max at any point?
No, I
No,
did not.
okay.
I'll wait for Tom to yell at me, but anyhow, are you gonna call him a custodian of Biddle Park,
Groundskeeper.
maybe?
Groundskeeper.
Groundskeeper.
Ground.
Turf specialist.
That sounds better. Yeah, I like that.
Actually, this is a good
Weed
teaching moment.
manager.
Oh, teaching.
So we're creating the class. we're talking about the classification of the position, which is something council is in charge of, to approve that job description, the creation of a position.
Oh, well, thanks, Tom.
Yeah.
Start thinking of names.
I like weed manager.
Weed manager.
Oh, this could go off the rails.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Counselor-
who seconded it?
Counselor Schneider did.
Yes.
Counselor Chamberlain?
Yes.
Counselor Schneider?
Yes.
Counselor Tiarena?
Yes.
Counselor Stickley?
Yes.
Counselor Heising?
Yes.
Council President Steeritz?
Yes.
6 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Thank you.
And that here ends that meeting. Okay, department head reports. Phil, you got 2 minutes.
Absolutely. All's good. Construction's proceeding downstairs with the Loomis extractor's been installed. We're waiting on a secondary vendor to come in and hook up some accessories. The MagnaGrip system is hanging from the ceiling. By the end of the week, that should be all in place and operational. We're still on a roll this month with crashes, so everybody stop and look both ways. That's all we're asking. The Christmas parade for us went well, lots of people well attended. And the new ambulance arrived late last week, and they actually, it's got a few things that they gotta do to it yet, but it's in service.
Questions?
That was the one that they randomly selected it? Was that?
The ambulance?
Yeah.
Yeah, it went random, every so many down the production line gets selected and they go to a separate facility where they do testing on it to make sure that the current standards and their production are meeting the quality that it needs to.
Nice. Cool.
Chief?
All of the Christmas for Kids selection has taken place. We ended up with 71 that we had approved. All the phone calls went out. I believe almost everyone has called back and confirmed to get that underway, so that'll be for December 16th. This morning we started the switch over for our car radios. That was part of the grant that we had this year to get all of our car radios over to 2025 compliance. So that has gotten underway. We got 5 of the cars switched out today to the new car radios. The installer will be here the rest of the week to make sure we get all those done. And then I've been working with Tom and Stephen and kind of watching what Ohio legislation is doing with the marijuana laws, just looking at what we're going to do with our city ordinances as far as that, and just working on that.
Questions? Okay. Did you get the list of the families that more or less were over and above for any charities that would like to?
My assistant would have those downstairs.
Okay. That would be nice that I could try to
Yeah.
help
I would get
sort
ahold
those
of-
out to the people who do call.
Yeah, I would get hold of Becky and she would have all the ones that were not selected this year.
That'd be good. Thank you. Keith?
Well, our leaf pickup is still in full swing. We've got 2 crews out on both sides of the city. We're planning on doing that at least all this week and possibly next week, then maybe dropping down to just 1 crew based on snowfall and the number of leaves that keep coming down. But it seems like people are still putting them out to the road, so we are got both crews busy. Got notified that we are in TTHM violation again for our 3rd quarter. We did some checking and found that in the LART, because I had spoke to you on Thursday about having a company come out and take a look at the big tower. We did find a plugged air filter up there, so that may have been causing a lot of the issues. So we are getting that repaired, and hopefully that will drop our levels considerably for the north end of town going out, where the violation was down by the airport. So that was the big concern. So if we can drop it down at the big tower, that will help everything north of the city to stay in compliance. You will see on resolution 2023-22, reference advertising for bids for the pedestrian beacon on Sheep Avenue. Got notified this morning that we dotted all the I's, crossed all the T's, that we will need to award for a bid before February 1st of 2024. So we can if you will pass it on first read this time, I would like to ask for it to be on an emergency in 2 weeks so that we can start the bidding process before the end of the year, because I have to bid it for a minimum of 3 weeks and would like to put it out for longer than that so we get as many potential bidders as possible. And I think that's everything that I have, unless you have some questions.
Any updates on Bedford fence?
I have not heard anything from them yet.
Okay.
Jamie?
So I'm hoping that in the agenda tonight that you received our monthly reports. So we finished up November and got it all closed on Friday. The income tax revenue is still up 32% from last year. And we also completed open enrollment meetings last week for employees insurance.
Which I thought actually went really well. Just a couple questions. Questions? You're up.
Okay, so we were busy putting together 9 pieces of legislation for you for first reading this time. And only one of them is on emergency. All the rest are first reads. And I want to point out that on the agenda, we got which one it is on emergency a little mixed up. So if you look at your agenda and under C and D, C is the Indigent Defense Services contract, which is not on emergency. And then D is on emergency, which is the long story short property insurance policy stuff, which expires this week, and so it's necessary that we have that on emergency. But all the rest are first read, and the legislation itself that you have in your packet is properly drafted to reflect the D is on emergency and not C. But we just mixed it up a bit on the agenda. And then I'd be happy to answer any questions as we get to the legislation that you might have.
One Keith talked about voting first this time and emergency next time. Could we do emergency tonight to give him 2 more weeks to put bids out?
You can do that, and I can change the legislation to reflect that if council would want to do that.
Great
ideas.
Yeah.
I just didn't have time to get it to Tom, so we can and it will be
I need a
fine
pen.
to do it on first read and emergency next time. We will
That
have
was
plenty of
22
time.
for
Okay, I just
Keith.
didn't know around the Christmas season, it'd be better to get it out earlier.
Well, we'll be ready to put it out on Tuesday, once you pass it on emergency on Monday.
This thing's been going on a long time.
Yes, it has.
So,
And it's one of those hurry up and waits. You gotta, as soon as they say everything's ready to go, then you're under the gun.
so I think I wouldn't mind putting it on emergency just to speed it up, since this has been ongoing since the lady
I like that.
a long time ago.
Okay.
If it's good with Tom.
Yep, you guys can do that, yep, and I'll revise the legislation.
Is that 122?
22.
Most of, a number of these might be on emergency next time. I guess it depends if we have a third meeting in December. We
Right.
can maybe transfer the emergencies to that last meeting, or we might have them next time. But otherwise, they're all first reading except for, I guess, those 2 now. So that's all I got. Working on other stuff with each of the department heads, but nothing to report.
All right. Well, then let's move on for first reading of legislation. Let's get through this. Resolution 2023-16 is a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter in an agreement for a countywide emergency management agency pursuant to the Ohio Revised Code, Section 5502.
First reading.
Second.
Motion to place resolution 2023-16 on first reading, moved by Counselor Chamberlain and seconded by Council President Steeritz. Any discussion? Counselor Chamberlain?
Yes.
Council President Steeritz?
Yes.
Counselor Schneider?
Yes.
Counselor Tiarena?
Yes.
Counselor Stickley?
Yes.
Counselor Heising?
Yes.
6 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
On this next resolution, just the reading of resolution authorizing should be all holiday pay, because it should be all the holidays, which it's not on there.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna amend that and add. So resolution 2023-17 is a resolution authorizing all holiday pay for part-time, non-seasonal employees.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Motion to place resolution 2023-17 on first reading, moved by Counselor Schneider and seconded by Counselor Heising. Any discussion? Counselor Schneider?
Yes.
Counselor Heising?
Yes.
Counselor Tiarena?
Yes.
Counselor Stickley?
Yes.
Counselor Chamberlain?
Yes.
Council President Steers?
Yes.
6 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Resolution 2023-18 is a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement for indigent defense services in county court with the Fulton County Commissioners.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion to place resolution 2023-18 on first reading, moved by Counselor Stickley and seconded by Counselor Heising. Any discussion? Counselor Stickley?
Yes.
Counselor Heising?
Yes.
Counselor Chamberlain?
Yes.
Counselor Tiarena?
Yes.
Counselor Schneider?
Yes.
Council President Steers?
Yes.
6 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Final.
Nope, no final on this one.
No,
This
it's
is the
not.
one. No,
That's the
you
one.
get to
That's
do
the
that on the next
Next
one.
one.
Why did I circle D for?
Because that's where you're gonna say it.
Oh.
Okay.
there, I'm ahead of myself.
Resolution 2023-19 is a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Ohio Plan Risk Management Incorporated for casualty liability, fire, and the property damage insurance, and declare this an emergency.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion to place resolution 2023-19 on emergency reading, moved by Counselor Stickley and seconded by Counselor Heising. Any discussion? Counselor Stickley?
Yes.
Counselor Heising?
Yes.
Counselor Chamberlain?
Yes.
Counselor Tiarena?
Yes.
Counselor Schneider?
Yes.
Council President Steers?
Yes.
6 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Final.
Did it right.
I'll second.
Motion to place resolution 2023-19 on final reading, moved by Council President Steers and seconded by Counselor Schneider. Any discussion? Council President Steers?
Yes.
Counselor Schneider?
Yes.
Counselor Tiarena?
Yes.
Counselor Stickley?
Yes.
Counselor Heising?
Yes.
Counselor Chamberlain?
Yes.
6 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Okay, next. Resolution 2023-20 is a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into agreements for health insurance coverage with Pareto Captive Services, Lucient Health Services, and Tokyo Marine HCC.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Who's second?
Scott.
Yeah.
Motion to place resolution 2023-20 on first reading, moved by Counselor Tiarena and seconded by Council President Steers. Any discussion?
Jamie, are these same three that we used in 2023?
And that's for health insurance for our employees?
Yeah.
And how much is it gonna go up, they say?
15%, right?
The stop loss coverage went up 15%.
How much?
15%.
15?
Yes.
Counselor Tiarena?
Yes.
Council President Steers?
Yes.
Counselor Schneider?
Yes.
Counselor Stickley?
Yes.
Counselor Heising?
Yes.
Counselor Chamberlain?
Yes.
6 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Resolution 2023-21 is a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with the Standard to provide life insurance and voluntary dental and vision insurance for full-time employees.
I think that sounds like a good idea. I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Motion to place resolution 2023-21 on first reading, moved by Counselor Chamberlain and seconded by Counselor Heising. Any discussion? Counselor Chamberlain?
Yes.
Counselor Heising?
Yes.
Counselor Stickley?
Yep.
Counselor Tiarena?
Yes.
Counselor Schneider?
Yes.
Council President Steers?
Yes.
6 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Resolution 2023-22 is a resolution authorizing the mayor to advertise for bids for the purchase and installation of a hybrid beacon on North Shoup Avenue, authorizing the mayor to accept the lowest and best bid, authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with the lowest and best bidder, and declare this an emergency.
So moved.
Second.
Motion to place resolution 2023-22 on emergency reading, moved by Counselor Schneider and seconded by Counselor Stickley. Any discussion? Counselor Schneider?
Yes.
Counselor Stickley?
Yes.
Counselor Tiarena?
Yes.
Counselor Heising?
Yes.
Counselor Chamberlain?
Yes.
Council President Steers?
Yes.
6 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Final.
Oh. I'll second the final.
Don't steal us, Thunder.
Sorry.
Motion to place Resolution 2023-22 on final reading, moved by Council President Steeritz and seconded by Councilor Heising. Any discussion? Council President Steeritz?
Yes.
Councilor Heising?
Yes.
Councilor Chamberlain?
Yes.
Councilor Stickley?
Yes.
Counselor Tiarena?
Yes.
Counselor Schneider?
Yes.
6 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
I think we're starting to scare Jeremy already with this. Ordinance 2023-6 is an ordinance amending section 191 of the codified ordinances of the city of Wauseon. Somebody?
Yeah, I'm just trying to refresh my memory.
That's the tax code,
Yeah.
the city's tax code to reflect changes in the state.
Oh, okay. I'll move on.
Second.
Motion to place ordinance 2023-6 on first reading, moved by Councilor Heising and seconded by Councilor Stickley. Councilor Heising, any discussion? Councilor Heising?
Yes.
Councilor Stickley?
Yes.
Councilor Chamberlain?
Yes.
Councilor Tiarena?
Yes.
Councilor Schneider?
Yes.
Council President Steeritz?
Yes.
6 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
And the next one is an amendment to ordinance 2023-7, an ordinance amending section 1114 of the codified ordinances of the city of Wauseon to add a new section 1114.12 titled Adult Use Cannabis Operators. It just changed to adult.
So what does this exactly mean, Tom, this ordinance?
So the new issue 2, which would create a new section in the revised code allowing recreational use for adults for cannabis.
Correct.
It authorizes cities to prohibit, if it chooses, the growth, harvesting, and sale of recreational marijuana within the city's limits. And this legislation would take that opportunity and prohibit those 3 things: the growing, the harvesting, and the selling of.
In the city limits?
Yes.
So it would not prevent someone from using, just,
Growing it. So like.
Yeah, the city
this-
can't prohibit that.
say
That's
no.
Right.
And that becomes applicable December 7th.
So
So this
an
is more
individual
like-
couldn't grow it either?
No, an individual can grow, what's
Up to
the?
6
plants or 12 per household.
So this is for
12
resale?
Yes.
More or less.
Yes.
And you added the adults to that too.
So this is
No,
to
they can
prevent,
do it for you.
businesses from selling
She
it
said
in the
she'll
city
take 2.
limits?
And from growing it, yeah.
Really?
I will move on that one.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Motion to place ordinance 2023-7 on first reading, moved by Councilor Heising and seconded by Councilor Tiarena. Any discussion? Councilor Heising?
Yes.
Councilor Tiarena?
Yes.
Councilor Chamberlain?
Yes.
Councilor Stickley?
No.
Councilor Schneider?
Yes.
Council President Steeritz?
Yeah.
5 yeas, 1 nay, motion carries.
Okay. Second reading of legislations. We have nothing. Third reading of legislations. We have ordinance 2023-5, which is an ordinance amending section 933.06B of the codified ordinances of the city of Wauseon.
This is the increase of the county surcharge on the water bill.
Oh, okay.
I will move on that.
Second.
Motion to place ordinance 2023-5 on third reading, moved by Councilor Heising and seconded by Councilor Stickley. Any discussion?
Is it missing that within the ordinance that there's no mention as to what the increase is?
There wasn't 50 cents going to $1.16
It was-
per thousand? Is that correct?
For the most part, yes.
That's what I was told.
It was
Yeah.
there's a table of them based on where the water is going.
There's a variety of increase, yeah.
Yes.
There's a whole bunch of them.
This is just a pass-through that we do, the county charges it, we just collect it.
We don't have a choice on the amount.
I was really caught
We
up in
just
the
have
fact
to-
that I was a legislator there for a little bit.
I think didn't we decide to do it that way, Keith, so we didn't have to keep changing it every
Right.
time they
Yes.
changed it?
Understood.
Counselor Heising?
Yes.
Counselor Stickley?
Yes.
Counselor Chamberlain?
Yes.
Counselor Tiarena?
Yes.
Counselor Schneider?
Yes.
Council President Steeritz?
Yes.
6 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Okay, was that it? New business. We need a motion to appoint Counselor Chamberlain, oh, I have Stickley on there, and Counselor Stickley to the Volunteer Firefighter Dependent Board. Sorry, Jeremy, I thought I was gonna put you on. Yes, I need a motion for that.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Motion to appoint Counselor Chamberlain and Counselor Stickley to the Volunteer Firefighter Department Board, moved by Counselor Schneider and seconded by Council President Steeritz. Any discussion? Counselor Schneider?
Yes.
Council President Steeritz?
Yes.
Counselor Tiarena?
Yes.
Counselor Stickley?
Yes.
Counselor Heising?
Yes.
Counselor Chamberlain?
Yes.
6 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Okay, this next one, motion to appoint Kevin Nelson to the Planning Commission to fill the unexpired term of Kurt Huffman. His term is up at the end of this month. And he has already said that he's not gonna just do a month, he's gonna come back for the next term. So I don't know if you wanna just add that on there so we don't have to bring it back up next month to put him on for another term. So,
So
I'm
Kurt
not following.
Huffman's coming back?
no, Kurt Huffman is not coming back, and
He would fill out the term.
he is filling out the term, but Kurt Huffman's
Oh.
term is up at the end of this month. But Kevin Nelson has stated that he will take the next term. So all I'm asking is that, because the procedure is, he would do the unexpired term, then I'd have to add him again. Whereas if you just say yes to his term, all I have to do is ask if he will be on it again, and he will say yea or nay.
Oh, okay.
No, I know, he's gonna do this.
I'd make a motion to appoint Kevin Nelson to the Planning Commission to fill the unexpired term of Kurt Huffman.
I'll second it.
So do you want this, Mayor, and,
Let's just keep it as is.
okay. Motion to appoint Kevin Nelson to the Planning Commission to fill the unexpired term of Kurt Huffman, moved by Counselor Chamberlain and seconded by Council President Steeritz. Any discussion? Counselor
this-
Go ahead.
So right now, it's gonna have to come back if he's gonna do it again?
Yeah, if I have a bunch of other ones, I'll just put his name back.
Oh, okay. All right, sorry.
Counselor Chamberlain?
Yes.
Council President Steeritz?
Yes.
Counselor Heising?
Yes.
Counselor Stickley?
Yes.
Counselor Tiarena?
Yes.
Counselor Schneider?
Yes.
6 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Okay. I have nothing under old business. Approval of the bills is what we need next.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion to approve and pay the bills as presented, moved by Counselor Schneider and seconded by Counselor Stickley. Any discussion? Counselor Schneider?
Yes.
Counselor Stickley?
Yes.
Counselor Tiarena?
Yes.
Counselor Heising?
Yes.
Counselor Chamberlain?
Yes.
Council President Steeritz?
Yes.
6 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Okay, I'm going to ask council if we could enter into an executive session to consider the compensation of public employees or officials. Let's see, that's it. And I am going to ask for Jamie, and if council doesn't disapprove, I'd like Jeremy to come in to just hear. He can't act or speak in the executive, you can speak, you just can't act. But I'd like to hear, because this is something that will affect next year. And Tom.
Sarah, I'll second it.
Motion to enter into executive session, moved by Counselor Heising and seconded by Counselor Stickley. Any discussion? Counselor Heising?
Yes.
Counselor Stickley?
Yes.
Counselor Chamberlain?
Yes.
Counselor Tiarena?
Yes.
Counselor Schneider?
Yes.
Council President Steeritz?
Yeah, so is he.
6 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.